Hello, my English learners. Welcome. I am so happy you are here today. If you are listening while walking, driving, cooking, or just relaxing, thank you for joining me in this podcast. It means a lot to me, and I'm excited to help you learn English. In today's episode, we will talk about something many English learners find hard. It is understanding native speakers. I know it can be difficult, especially when native speakers talk very fast. They might use slang, or they might speak in ways that are confusing. You might be asking yourself, why is it so hard for me to understand English speakers? Or, how can I follow their conversations? Don't worry, my friend. You are not the only one. Many learners feel the same way. But here is good news. You can definitely get better at understanding native speakers. And in today's episode, I will help you step by step. We will explain everything. I will share some strong tips that will make it easier for you to understand native speakers. You will feel more confident in your English listening skills. So, let's start. First, let's talk about why understanding native speakers can be difficult. You might think that just knowing the words or grammar rules is enough. But that is not the whole story. Understanding spoken English, especially from native speakers, is different. This is because of things like speed, accents, slang, and how words connect. Don't worry if those words sound confusing now. We will talk about all of them. Why is it so hard to understand native speakers? Have you ever talked with a native English speaker and felt completely lost? You might have understood a few words here and there, but the rest seemed like a blur. This is very common for English learners. It happens for a few reasons. First, native speakers often speak quickly. They don't always say words clearly. They might put words together. They might not say some sounds. Or they might use short forms like I'm instead of I am. This can make it hard to understand. For example, native speakers might say gonna instead of going to, or wanna instead of want to. This sounds different from what you learned in books or classes. Second, different accents can make it harder to understand English speakers. English is spoken all around the world. Every area has its own way of speaking. It could be an American accent, a British accent, or an Australian accent. Each one has its own sounds, way of saying words, and rhythm. When you listen to someone with an accent that is different for you, it can feel like a different language, even though it is still English. Another reason why understanding native speakers is hard is that they often use slang. Slang words and phrases are common in everyday talks, but they are not usually taught in English classes. For example, if someone says, "What's up?" they are not asking about the weather. They are just saying, "Hello," or "How are you?" Understanding these casual ways of talking is important if you want to follow native speakers. Lastly, there is something called connected speech. This is when words are said together so closely that it's hard to hear each one. For instance, when a native speaker says, "I'm going to go," the words are linked together. It might sound like, "I'm gonna go," instead of saying each word separately. If you don't know about this, it can make listening to fast speech hard. But don't worry, all of these things are normal. Native speakers do not always speak perfectly. With some practice, you will be able to understand them more clearly. It takes time, but it is completely possible. And in today's episode, we will talk about some easy tips to help you get better. Tip 1. Listen to real talks. One of the best ways to get better at understanding native speakers is to listen to real talks. This means listening to people speaking naturally, not just recordings of slow or practiced speech. Why? Because native speakers don't speak like the recordings in books. They speak quickly. They use slang. They connect their words in ways that might be new for you. So, how can you do this? Start by listening to podcasts or YouTube videos in English. Choose topics that you like. It could be about sports or even cooking. The more you listen to natural talks, the better you will get at understanding how native speakers talk. Here is a tip. Don't try too hard to understand every single word. Instead, try to understand the main idea of the talk. The goal is to get used to the speed and rhythm of natural speech. If you don't understand a word, that's okay. Just keep listening and try to catch the main idea. Also, don't be afraid to listen again. It is completely normal to need to hear something more than once. Over time, your brain will start to get used to the sounds and patterns of spoken English. You will begin to understand more. Tip 2. Pay attention to accents. As I said before, there are many different English accents. Each one has its own way of saying words and its own rhythm. The way people speak in London sounds different from New York or Sydney. If you find it hard to understand a certain accent, it is important to practice with that accent. If you know you will talk with people from a certain area, like the United States or the UK, try to listen to that accent more. For example, you could watch TV shows or movies with characters from that area. Or you could listen to podcasts with speakers from that area. The more you hear a certain accent, the easier it will be to understand it. And remember, don't feel bad if you can't understand everything right away. It takes time. The more you practice, the more natural it will feel. Tip 3. Focus on the important words. When native speakers talk, they often speak quickly. But don't worry if you miss a few words here and there. The key to understanding is to focus on the important words in a sentence. Native speakers often don't say small words like is, are, or the, or they might make them shorter in casual speech. These small words are important for grammar. But they don't always change the main meaning of what is being said. Instead of worrying about understanding every word, try to focus on the key words that carry the meaning. These are usually the nouns, names of things or people, verbs, action words, and adjectives, words that describe things. For example, if someone says, "I'm going to the store to buy some groceries," you don't need to understand to or some very well. Just focus on store, buy, and groceries. That will help you get the main idea. You can practice this by listening to a talk and trying to pick out the most important words. Then try to say what the talk was about in your own words. This will help you understand native speakers better, especially when they speak fast or use words you don't know. Tip 4. Use subtitles. If you are watching movies, TV shows, or YouTube videos. Use subtitles to help you understand. Subtitles are very helpful because they let you see the words as you hear them. This helps you connect spoken words with written words. This is a great way to get better at both listening and reading. Here is a helpful way to do this. Start with subtitles in your own language if you need extra help. When you feel comfortable, change to English subtitles. This will let you see the exact words being spoken in English. It will help you get used to how the words are said. After some time, you can try watching without subtitles at all. This will help you focus more on listening and understanding the spoken words without any help. One thing to remember is that not all subtitles are perfect. Sometimes they don't say exactly what the speakers are saying, especially with slang. But don't worry, just keep listening and use the subtitles as a guide, not as something you always need. Over time, you will start to understand more without needing them. Tip 5. Break the speech into small parts. When you are listening to a native speaker, it can feel like too much because they speak in long sentences without stopping. But the truth is, native speakers often break their speech into smaller parts. This is especially true when people are talking. They often pause between ideas or phrases. To understand better, practice by breaking the speech into small parts. When you listen to a sentence, try to hear the natural pauses. For example, listen to a sentence like, "I went to the store and then I saw my friend and we decided to grab some coffee." There are clear breaks between, "I went to the store," "I saw my friend," and "we decided to grab some coffee." These are natural breaks in speech that can make it easier for you to understand. You can practice by listening to a short talk and stopping it after each part. Try to understand the meaning of each part before moving on. This will help you understand information in smaller pieces. It will make it easier to understand fast speech. Tip 6. Shadowing. Now, let's talk about a way to practice called shadowing. Shadowing is when you listen to a native speaker and say what they say right away. Try to match their speed, rhythm, and how they say the words as closely as you can. It's like you are their shadow, copying every word. This is a strong way to practice because it trains both your ears and your mouth. By listening to and saying the sentences you hear, you will become more familiar with how native speakers speak. You will also get better at saying words, at rhythm, and at how your voice goes up and down. These are all important for understanding spoken English. To start shadowing, choose a short video or audio clip with natural speech. Listen to 1 or 2 sentences. Then stop and say exactly what you heard. Try to copy the way the speaker says each word. Pay attention to their tone and which words they say more strongly. This will help you sound more natural. It will make it easier to understand other speakers who talk the same way. Don't worry if you can't keep up at first. Shadowing takes practice. It's okay if you don't get everything right the first time. Keep practicing. Over time, your understanding of native speakers will get better. Tip 7. Practice listening to different accents. As I said before, accents can make it harder to understand native speakers. But this doesn't mean you should avoid them. In fact, the more you hear different accents, the better you will become at understanding many English speakers. Start by listening to different accents from different areas or countries. You could listen to British, American, Australian, or even African English accents. Each accent has its own sounds and ways of saying words. By practicing with different accents, you will train your brain to understand English in many ways. If you are not sure where to start, you could try watching TV shows or movies from different countries. For example, you could watch a British movie, then an American one, then an Australian one. Listen carefully to how the characters speak. Try to hear any differences in how they say words. Over time, you will find it easier to understand people from different parts of the world. Tip 8. Slow down the speed. If you find it hard to follow the speed of native speakers, it is okay to slow things down a bit. Many podcasts, YouTube videos, and audiobooks let you change the speed of the audio. Start by listening at a slower speed. As you get more comfortable, slowly make the speed faster. By slowing things down, you will be able to hear more words. You will understand the speaker's tone and rhythm more clearly. When you feel confident at a slower speed, try making the speed a little bit faster at a time. This slow process will help you follow faster native speakers in the future. Tip 9. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Finally, remember that it is okay to ask for help if you don't understand something. Native speakers are usually very nice. They will be happy to say what they said again or explain it in a different way. Don't feel bad if you don't understand. Everyone has been there. If you are talking to someone and you didn't hear something, just say, "Sorry, could you say that again?" Or, "I didn't quite understand. Could you explain it differently?" Most people will be happy that you are trying to get better at English. They will be happy to help. Tip 10. Use context clues. One of the best ways to understand native speakers is to use context clues. When you are listening, the situation, the topic, and even how the speaker's body looks can give you a lot of information about what is being said. Sometimes, if you don't understand a specific word or phrase, try to figure it out based on the main meaning of the talk. For example, if you are talking about food and someone says, "I'm going to grab a bite," even if you are not sure about the exact meaning of bite, you can guess from the topic that they are talking about eating. Context clues are the small hints in the talk that help you understand when you don't know every word. This works in many situations, not just with food or everyday topics. For example, if you are listening to a story and someone says, "The car broke down and we had to call for a tow," you can guess that tow means help with getting the car to a repair shop, even if you don't know the exact meaning of the word. Over time, your brain will become better at finding these clues. It will make understanding native speakers much easier. Tip 11. Be patient with yourself. It is important to be patient with yourself when it comes to understanding native speakers. Learning a language takes time. It takes time to get used to different speeds, accents, and ways of speaking. It is completely normal to feel like you are not understanding everything right away. But don't let that make you sad. Remember, you don't become fluent overnight. Every time you listen to a native speaker, you are making progress, even if you don't see it. The key is to keep practicing and to keep trying. Over time, Your brain will start to know the sounds and structures of spoken English. It will become easier to understand. If you ever feel frustrated, take a break. Remember how far you have come. It is not about being perfect. It is about getting better. Be happy about the small wins, like understanding a sentence you couldn't before, or hearing a word that used to be unclear. These moments add up. Before you know it, you will be much more comfortable understanding native speakers. Tip 12. Practice with listening exercises. If you are looking for a way to learn listening in a planned way, listening exercises are great. Many language learning apps, websites, and books have exercises where you listen to a recording. Then you answer questions about what you heard. These exercises are made to help you practice understanding different types of spoken English, from talks to lessons to news. They help you focus on listening for specific information. This can be helpful in real talks too. You can find many listening exercises at different levels. So start with something that matches your current level. Slowly try harder ones as you get better. These exercises will not only help you understand native speakers, they will also help you learn to listen for details. This is important for talking in the real world. Tip 13. Get better at vocabulary. The more words you know, the easier it will be to understand native speakers. If you only know basic words, it can be hard to follow fast talks, especially when native speakers use common sayings or slang. One way to get better at vocabulary is to learn new words every day. Make a list of words that you hear while listening to podcasts, watching TV, or reading. Then look up what they mean. Focus on learning words that are used often in everyday talks. Over time, you will notice that you can hear more words and phrases when native speakers use them. Another good way to get better at vocabulary is by learning word groups. These are groups of words that often go together. For example, instead of just learning the word make, learn common phrases like make a decision, make a mistake, or make an effort. This will help you understand how words fit together in real talks. Tip 14. Get comfortable with common sayings. Native speakers often use common sayings in casual talks. These sayings can be confusing if you don't know them. A saying is a phrase where the meaning is different from the words themselves. For example, "It's raining cats and dogs" doesn't mean animals are falling from the sky. It means it's raining very hard. While it might be hard to understand these sayings at first, they are a normal part of natural speech. To get comfortable with them, start by learning some of the most common ones. You can do this by listening to talks and paying attention to phrases you don't understand. Look them up and practice using them yourself. Over time, you will find that you start knowing these sayings more easily. Your ability to understand native speakers will get better. Tip 15. Practice active listening. It is important to practice active listening. Active listening means that you are fully paying attention to the speaker. You are not just hearing the words. When you listen actively, you pay attention to the speaker's tone, how their body looks, and the situation of the talk. This will help you understand the meaning more clearly. You can practice active listening by trying to say what the speaker says in your own words. This is called paraphrasing. It is a great way to check if you understood. If you can say what you heard correctly, it means you understood the message. Active listening also means that you don't stop the speaker. Let them finish what they are saying before you talk. This will help you hear all the details. It will make it easier to understand.